Hello and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking about how to get comfortable with a good enough decision. Hey Janine.
Hey Shannon, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. We are experiencing a storm, though there's no thunder at the moment, but if you hear thunder, that would be why.
Because you're having a thunderstorm?
And it's the Midwest, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a little less dark out than it was a few minutes ago, so I'm optimistic that perhaps it won't be noisy for our recording.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
So those Midwest storms can get very exciting.
Yes, and there's a poodle here who doesn't enjoy them, so hopefully he won't get in the way of things. Sometimes he wants to go up on my lap or something or his front legs.
Right.
So he'd be right by the mic if he did that. That could be interesting.
Yeah, well, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
So today we are talking about the good enough decision.
Yep. Yay.
Yeah. And this has come out of the idea that we've mentioned a couple of times in previous podcasts about maximizers and satisficers, which I always struggle on that word because it sounds weird to me.
I wish it were a more mellifluous word. I wish,
Yes.
it's a word that I stumble over too. And I could resist the word because it seems like a made up word, but I'm not sure that I don't think it is. But anyway, I'll let you tell folks what a satisficer is.
A satisficer is someone who makes. I should be letting you do this because you're a satisficer.
Yeah, but you're so good at the explanation.
Well, let me start actually with the maximizer because that's the one that I'm more acquainted with.
Okay.
And a maximizer, I also sometimes think of it as an optimizer, is a person who wants to take in all the information available, all possible options, and then make the best possible decision. And a satisficer is someone who makes a good enough decision, that spends only the amount of time that seems reasonable for whatever the decision is that needs to be made, and doesn't get caught up in trying to get the most out of a particular decision.
And we are satisfied. We don't tend to second guess them, and we're satisfied with the decision.
Right. That's the other key thing, is that satisficers tend to have a higher level of satisfaction with their decisions, and maximizers tend to have regret or wish they would have made a different decision, or otherwise feel badly about the decision that they made.
Which is a bummer. because they're spending more time on the research and the decision making, and then end up with less satisfaction.
Right. Well,
yeah.
And you can see how perfectionism can really play into being a maximizer.
Oh, yeah.
It's like trying to make the perfect decision, which is impossible.
Right. Yeah.
And,
because you can never examine every single possibility.
Right. And, a lot of times what happens is you spend so much time, researching or trying to figure out all possible options or permutations of possibility, and you postpone making a decision for so long that the decision gets made for you.
Right. That sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, it made me think of the living room rug that Barry and I just bought, which for us is a huge thing because we're not people who willy-nilly replace things in our home.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. So our beloved...
You have lovely things that you keep for a long time.
Well, thank you for saying that. Yes, we definitely keep them for a long time. And we had our living room rug, which is a big rug. It's like, or 10 by 8. I mean, it's not huge. Is that right? 10 by 8? Yeah, but it's not tiny.
Are you sure?
No, you'd think I would know. I just bought it.
I think it's like 12 by 16, isn't it? It's pretty big.
No, I know. I thought it was, but it isn't. I was looking at the wrong size rug, actually, for quite a while. And then I measured. Like, oh, this changes everything. So the old one just needed to be replaced after almost 20 years of use. And I went on Wayfair.com and on the app, and I selected some ones I liked, and I sent them to Barry, and he kind of liked one of them. And then when it went on sale, I'm like, okay, it's on sale. Let's buy it. And so I was thrilled, right? We both liked it. It went on sale. Perfect. It's 100% wool, hand tufted, met my requirements. And his response was, well, are we sure? Maybe we should look again. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, this is how I made it to 30 years of marriage, just by holding my tongue. It's okay, let's look again. And we spent some time looking, and we bought the one I wanted to buy. And it worked out. And we both love it. We both have said we even like it better than the last one, which I really love that last one. But we both really like this. So it worked out great. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. So he probably feels like he put the, it was good to add a little extra research to feel like he maximized the options. And I'm sure that's what he thought. And I would have been perfectly happy buying it without any more research.
Right. But it's interesting that you doing the first round of research probably makes it much easier for Barry.
Well, actually, it was longer, more drawn out than that, and he did the first round of research.
Oh, did he?
And I rejected all of them. And but I was favored by the fact that enough time elapsed before I told him that I had rejected all of them. By the time we looked again, none of them were available anymore. Oh. So then I got to start it. Right. And I stayed on top of it because Wayfair emails you twice a day. I mean, the emails just kept reminding me I wanted a rug. And so, now that I've bought the rug, I'm no longer sign up for all the emails. but
yeah, that's awesome. But it is. I think we talked about this in the previous Making Decisions episode about how I've definitely had to come up with a strategy of limiting the amount of research that I was going to do, like to put really strict parameters on what is important to me in making the decision and not letting other things come into play.
Yeah, I mean, you actually develop, because you have more of a tendency to be a maximizer than, say, I do, or you're a recovering perfectionist. You had to, as part of your recovery, build an actual strategy, right?
Right.
So you thought it through, and you limit it to a certain amount of time or a certain number of options you research?
It depends on the situation. It's usually a combination, and it's the first thing I do is I sort of pick the top 3 things that matter to me about it. the top two or three things that matter.
Getting in touch with why it's important to you.
Oh, yes, exactly. And then I do research, like if I'm going to buy something. Well, like for example, the microphones that we both just got, I knew generally what I wanted. You know, I needed it to be high quality for podcasting, and I didn't need it to be, you know, like the best possible microphone ever. And we had a budget in mind. And then I did some Googling, and I looked at a couple of sites, and then I looked at the reviews on Amazon for the ones that they were recommending, and then I made a decision. And I could feel myself in that process starting to go down but should we get a microphone that does this, or should we get a microphone that does that? And then I just kept bringing myself back to, like, I don't need the most optimal microphone. I need the one that works for podcasting.
Right. And I, by contrast, said, I'll buy what you buy.
Yeah.
And I knew it'd be great, and it is. We're very happy with our microphones. We'll put a link in the show notes in case somebody else wants to just use Shannon's recommendation on what microphone to buy. But no, that's really great. But and Amazon makes it hard because they have all those links right there in the page of the one that you're looking at about what other people are looking at, or comparing it with slightly different versions of pretty much the same thing. So keeping those parameters and sticking to that strategy is very impressive, Shannon.
Well, I feel very happy that I was able to do that, and I am very happy with this microphone, and it's just a good example of, like, I could have spent hours and hours thinking about a microphone, because there are a lot of people that have a lot to say about microphones.
Yeah.
And we just needed a good enough microphone.
Right. And it's definitely good enough.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say this exceeds that standard, but we didn't set out to exceed that standard.
Right. That was the same standard that we applied to all the aspects of putting together the podcast that we have we did an episode about, and so far I don't, almost 2 years in, I don't think we've changed any of we changed the theme, the WordPress theme, but otherwise we haven't changed much, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
No, we've sort of stuck with what's working for us.
Yeah.
Which is very convenient, really.
Convenient, you're right. And it's also the opposite of stress-inducing. I mean, I feel really fortunate, because I feel like a bit of it, in my case, is maybe just sort of hardwired just the way I think. But the idea, I mean, I just no regrets is sort of, I mean, I don't look back on decisions and regret them, typically. It'd have to be some really bad decision for me to even think about it, consider regretting it.
Right.
So I appreciate the satisfaction aspect of this being a satisficer.
Yes. And it's interesting because I don't really regret a lot of decisions either. So it doesn't, the sort of maximizer that part of it doesn't really fit for me. I do all that up front. I have predictive regret. What am I going to regret?
Right. Okay. That works for you.
Yeah. But the other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of how to go about making a decision that's good enough is, a lot of times when you're making a decision, it feels like you're making this decision forever and ever. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, and a lot of times with my clients, taking the counsel that this is a decision for now. This is, you can always change your mind. And I've been having this conversation with my daughter, who's trying to decide what college to go to. And I said, you're trying to make a decision for the rest of your life. You're trying to pick the best place to go to college for the rest of your life. What happens if you pick the best place to go to college knowing what you know now and knowing that you can change your mind in a year?
Mm-hmm. As
or
many
you can
people
even
do.
Yeah, or you can change your mind in August and take a gap year, defer. Mm-hmm. You could, you do have more options even after you make the decision. And so taking some of that pressure off helps you make a decision from more the role of a satisficer than a maximizer.
Right. Well, and right now for these kids, your daughter's age, who are trying to make this decision this year, when they don't even know whether the schools are going to be in session or not, in person.
Right.
Is just, I think that makes your counsel even more valuable, because there's just so much she doesn't know. All she can do is make a decision based on what she knows right now.
Right.
And trust that, and know that if it turns out things are different than she expects, she can transfer.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably something that we're all bumping up against right now, is that it's hard to make decisions when you're in such a place of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And we don't know. There's so much we don't know about how things are going to go over the next 6 years, 6 months, 6 years too, frankly.
Right. And 6 months feels like 6 years. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think using the idea of a good enough decision becomes even more important during times mm-hmm. of real uncertainty. Yeah.
I think I think you're absolutely right in that. I know the uncertainty is making me a little crazy. What it's doing for me in terms of decisions is kind of just delaying them. I mean, just
right.
Like my big question is when I can go back to work, and I don't know. I mean, it depends, right? So I try not to let it bother me. That's the best I can do, is not make a decision and not let that bother me. I feel like that's the best I can do.
Yeah, because you don't have enough information to make a decision.
Right, yeah.
And so the decision is that, one strategy to try is the decision is I'm not going to consider this again for, whatever, a week, a month, or until something shifts significantly. Mm-hmm. And give yourself a break from thinking about it. Because I think that's the other stressful thing mm-hmm. about being in uncertainty, is that you don't have the information you need to make a decision, and there's not necessarily a deadline to make the decision, but you feel like you need to make a decision, and you keep thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
So if, as much as you can make the decision to not do anything or postpone the decision for a period of time, a lot of times with clients, I'll say, well, so like I had a client who is, might possibly be moving. Mm-hmm. And she keeps saying, I just want to know if we're moving. And I said, well, right now, you know that you're going to be in the house you're in until the end of the school year. She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so you're not moving between now and then. So put it on your calendar that you can ask the question again at the beginning of June.
Did that seem to help?
Yeah, it does. It's still, and it's a sort of a touchstone to go back to.
Right. Yes.
But,
like, I'll be comfortable with the uncertainty now.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the future, I can make that decision. But recognizing, in my case, or in this client's case, there's nothing that I can do now to help me make a decision.
Right. Well, and actually you're creating a little bit of certainty in that, and this is a little bit of a weird paradox, but you're certain that you cannot make a decision between now and June.
Mm-hmm. That gives you some certainty. Yeah.
Right.
And then some comfort around that.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah.
So it is a little bit of a mind trick that totally works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
Well, I know we've talked, Janine, about times where you have like gotten all caught up in researching things, but how do you do that without getting overwhelmed by it?
Well, I really try to limit my choices. That's my thing, right? That's how I've come to learn as an adult that I'm happiest with fewer choices. So what it means is I think in a sense, my strategy isn't as well thought out as yours, but I think I pretty much do the same things. Like, I know what I want and what aspects. But I think we talked about in the podcast when I had to replace my external computer monitor because the old one started having smoke come out of it. So I knew it was time to replace it.
Excellent clue.
Yes. I went on the New York Times Wirecutter and saw their most favored, best reviewed monitor, highly recommended. And I knew that I needed USB-C ports because I just bought a Mac that had nothing but USB-C ports. And read about it on Amazon and decided it was worth the extra money because it would serve as a hub for all my USB-A devices. I could just plug my monitor in and boom, it was done. I mean, I literally didn't research after that because it satisfied me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's such a good feeling.
Thrilled. Yeah, this is a great monitor, and it's way better than the smoky one it replaced. But I mean, yeah, so that worked out really well. I may have said this on the podcast. I bought the first wedding dress I saw. Which was it was not made for a wedding, but it was a party dress. It was a party dress. It was in the fancy party, the fancy party department on the sale rack at Neiman Marcus. And I tried it on. I liked it. They altered it. I came home and said I bought a wedding dress, and Barry was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I bought a wedding dress," and he was actually disappointed because I hadn't put more work into it, I guess. Well, he liked the dress. The dress was great, but yeah. So as I think I shared with you on our anniversary that I dug out our budget for our wedding, and he spent more on his suit than I spent on my dress.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's all about fewer options. But I think the thing that you said, which is knowing what you need in this decision, whether it's what you need, if it's a purchase, what features you need, or knowing why it's important to you to make this decision. If you can get down to that can help you narrow your choices.
Right.
And hopefully make it easier.
Yeah. And there's various versions of this around in different circumstances, but it usually comes down to the idea of, pick your top 3 things about whatever that's important to you. You get 2 of them.
Mm. Yeah, I like that.
And yeah. And it helps you sort of focus on what really matters, where you should focus your research, what kind of research you should be looking at. But I often remind myself to make the best decision I can, knowing what I know right now.
Right. Yeah, and which does help you avoid regret down the road. Because I have made some decisions that I regret have regretted, but knowing that I was making the best decision I could at the time makes me feel okay about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the key. And so if you feel that, then you could say, oh, well, I have different information now than I had then. So how would I do it differently in the future? So you can even learn from it to help you make decisions that you're more satisfied with in the future.
Right. And that really dovetails nicely with the idea that these decisions aren't forever. They needn't be forever, unless, of course, you live with my husband, in which case the rug you buy is it's gonna be.
You're gonna die years. With this rug.
We talked about that. But yesterday I was doing laundry and the dryer heat didn't come on. And I thought, and it's an old dryer. And I thought, oh, great, we're going to have to get a new dryer. And then it turned out it was user error. And so, so the dryer's fine. So we'll keep going with it. But both of us were kind of excited by the notion that we might get a new dryer. But then just think of the research. That would have been annoying.
Yeah.
So I think that all of these things really factor into the idea of a good enough decision, or as an article that we saw in the New York Times calls it, a mostly fine decision.
Right.
And that's an interesting article too, which I'll post in the. I'll add to the show notes.
Well, and the example that he gave, and it's interesting because it was, this article is from some time ago, but the example he gave was that, the hardest decision he faces is what to have for dinner.
I know. It's like, what? That's nothing I even give any thought to personally, but because I don't care what I have for dinner.
Yeah, but you deciding what to make. Well, you're not usually making it.
I don't make it. Well, I fend for myself. We have nights where we fend for ourselves. And on those nights, Barry makes himself a fine meal, and I make
and you
myself
have cheese and crackers.
Yeah, exactly. Popcorn. No, I don't. If Barry's home, I don't have popcorn for dinner. But I had some Trader Joe's corn dogs the other day. They were awesome. I don't care what I make for dinner. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I get stymied by the question, and I used to really get stymied by ordering off a menu.
Oh, that's
right.
And then
I got really good at ordering off menus.
And we talked about this in one episode. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was on. Yeah, because I'm familiar. I'm familiar with this from the podcast, not just from talking with you. But remind me, what's your strategy? I remember liking it a lot.
So I think about what kind of meal I want to have. Do I want something crisp and refreshing? Do I want something warm and cozy? Do I want something new? And so I pick sort of the feeling that I want to have. Mm-hmm. And then I only look at that part of the menu. So does that mean it's a salad? Does that mean it's a pasta dish? Does that mean it's the fish or whatever? And then I just stick to that, and then I just order from that section.
That's excellent. So you're limiting the choices, which means you don't have to research heavily and weigh all the options, and you end up with the thing that you want.
Right. And then I also think about how I will feel having eaten. Once I pick something, then I think, how will I feel having eaten that? Will I feel satisfied? And usually the answer is yes, and so I order it. And then Mike orders something else, and then we get our meals, and he's like, you always order better than me.
We talked about that in episode 16, decision making. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because my strategy is I order the first thing that jumps out at me in the menu. Mm-hmm. And if I like it, every time I go back to that restaurant, I order it again. Drives Barry insane.
I bet.
But it works really well for me.
Yeah. I actually do that too. I've adopted that from you. Oh. And it totally works. If that's the thing I want, I don't feel bad about getting it again.
I'm not going to go to the Japanese restaurant in Walla Walla and order anything but pot stickers.
I don't know. That eel roll I had was so tasty.
Yeah, I know there's lots of good things there, but I only have so much room in my belly, and it's going to be full of pot stickers.
With about 3 times as many pot stickers as I ever would have imagined you could eat.
I mean it when I say full of pot stickers. All right. Well, it's been, gosh, a couple months since I talked about pot stickers, so that felt good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Goodness. Pot stickers. Now I want some.
I know.
Anything else you want to say about making a good enough decision?
No, I hope this helps folks, especially in this time of uncertainty, to feel okay with knowing that this decision they're making now is good enough. It's good for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such an important thing to keep in mind is, just knowing what you know now, make a good enough decision.
Yep.
And then move forward.
Right.
So with that, we want to hear from you. Are you struggling to make decisions right now? What aspects of the good enough decision do you think will be most helpful? You can leave us a message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. You can comment on Facebook or Instagram at Getting to Good Enough, on Twitter at GTG Enough, or you can head over to our website, gettingtogoodenough.com, and leave a comment in the show notes. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. Now I have to find somewhere around here that'll deliver me pot stickers.
Oh, good luck with that. They're never as good, though, when they're delivered. They
It's
get
so
colder.
true.
Yeah.
I know.